Very heavy cloud cover, and conditions for these players this afternoon will be very wet underfoot. And now the Manly machine take to the field after receiving a hammering last weekend at the hands of the North Sydney Bears by 41 points to 8. This is the day that they've really got to click back into top gear. Manly, and look at the side. Craig Hancock is the fullback. The wingers are Danny Moore and John Hopewate. The centres, Craig Innes, and Terry Hill has passed a fitness test, will be playing. Jeff Tuvey, captain and 5/8. Craig Field, half. The back row, Nick Koseff, Daniel Gartner and Steve Menzies. Front row comprising Mark Carroll, Jim Sedaris and David Gillespie, take note, playing in jumper number 17, will start this game. Neil Turney, who was named in the run-on side, has been relegated to the bench. And now the South Queensland side, who so far in the Optus Cup of 1997 have only put 2 wins on the board against Parramatta and Sydney City, remarkably. And their side today, Shikovsky is the fullback, Jason Hudson and Jason Vent, the wingers, Matt Toshak and Michael Egar, the centres. Aaron Moole is the 5/8. Craig Teven at halfback, the skipper. Craig Wilson is the lock forward. The second rowers, Mark Prothero and Nathan Solojinkin. Still wretchless Clinton O'Brien, the front row. Nathan Antonick finds himself in the hooking role this afternoon. I'm joined in commentary at Brookvale Oval by Parramatta coach Brian Smith. His side now on a 9-match winning streak, which would make you pretty pleased. And welcome aboard as we look at vision of the referee, Sean Hampstead.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I'm another happy camper today after we dug ourselves out of a tricky one yesterday. And Manly will be keen to dig themselves out of a bit of a tricky situation that they find themselves in as reigning premiers and under some pressure.
Yes, indeed. The kick-off now underway, and Hancock fields the ball, immediately passes to Mark Carroll, who barges his way out almost to the 20 line. Good defence by the Crushers, driving him back a few metres. Manly defending the northern end of Brookvale Oval in this first half as David Gillespie goes for a gallop. He's tackled right in centre field, 21 metres out. But going very heavy, particularly in the centre of this park. I thought they may look at relocating the under-20s game, as they have done here in the past. They did play, and as a result, the ground is understandably chopped up as Carroll takes his second hit up of the match. Across the field they run through Daniel Gartner. Crushers very enthusiastic in defence. That's tackle number 5. Manly on their own side of halfway. Spins the ball to Craig Field, who puts in a kick which is going to land nicely for Clinton Shikovsky. Back in the top grade after a controversial start to this season. And he's tackled 12 metres out.
He gets his start at fullback today because of suspension to the Kiwi, David Watson. They'll be keen for a good start, the Crushers. In fact, they've had some very good starts to games this year. We follow them through the comp, so I've seen lots of them on video. And they've been pretty good at the start of games. They'll need to be, obviously, here playing at Brookvale. But I reckon Manly will be just as keen for a good start today because their confidence has got to be just a little bit down. I know they're not something you'd say about Manly normally, but they've been in a bit of a hole for the last 6 weeks, and they'll be keen to get themselves going early in the game, I'm sure.
Teven puts in the clearing kick, and a very good kick indeed, which finds touch 19 metres out from the Manly try line. It'll be a Manly loosened feed. The Crushers holding their own in the first couple of minutes of this game. And nice of you to join us on Sports Australia.
There's a 40-20 kick there, so the Crushers are going to
you're right too.
They're going to get a possession back here from the scrum, hopefully.
A big torpedo punt. You're quite right, Brian. I should have realised. So Teven in the halfback role this afternoon will feed this scrum, and a good rule too, that new 40-20 rule.
It's one we don't see come off a lot, but it puts a lot of pressure on wingers and fullbacks and makes them pick the ball up. We may see it more often, or happen more often, where the ball goes into touch, and that was really what the rule was designed for, to keep the ball in play. Let's get some more action.
So the ball comes out the back of the Crushers, and across the park they run. Now it's with Matt Toshak, taken by Tuvey and also Hancock. He's 12 metres out. They swing it to the right towards the eastern side of this ground. Shikovsky gets himself involved, taken by Gartner and also Nick Koseff around the legs. And now they're 7 out. Good opportunity for them. Teven calls on his players before popping to Clinton O'Brien. And now Wilson in possession. Gallops another couple of metres upfield. Teven, long pass out to his 5/8 Moole, who decides to run hard and straight. 9 metres out. Teven working towards the western side of the ground. An offload there that went wrong. Jason Hudson couldn't handle. Scampered back in an attempt to clean it up.
Oh, they're going to get another set here. The referees ruled that that was knocked down by a Manly player. So they're going to get another set of 6. This is a great start. Great start for the Crushers. Just what they needed. Oh, gee, I think that's a tough ruling. You know, that player's gone in to make a tackle. I don't think he's made a play at the ball. Oh, they've done the impossible.
They have indeed. Now it's with Terry Hill, and he gets the legs pumping. Found Jeff Tuvey. Now it goes out to Innes, who offloads to a flying Hopawate, bursting down the eastern flank. Good scrambling defence by the Crushers. A tackle that had to be made, Brian Smith.
Oh, that was a great tackle, and he was on his own. But gee, they'll be disappointed with that. They had an opportunity to turn the screw on Manly with 3 back-to-back sets, and they've missed that courtesy of that scrum against the feed.
Good to see Terry Hill running freely when he found himself in some space there. He had a worrying groin injury coming into this game. Damaged the muscle just above his groin. Now Tuvey looking for some troops, looked on the inside, nobody really there. Before getting it back to Gardner. Manly on the attack. And they have that side of the field stacked. Now it's Nick Kosef breaking free of tackles, was taken by Still Retchless. And he'll play it 20 metres out now from the Crushers try line. Craig Field, a perfectly executed crossfield kick. They're under plenty of pressure, South Queensland. This will be a try to Danny Moore. There's been a penalty awarded to the Crushers for offside. When the ball was contested, we'll have a look at it for you. It was propelled forward, possibly off a Manly hand. And Moore in front of him. Is that the way you saw it, Brian?
I think the referee may have actually come up with a penalty for barrelling the bloke who was about to catch the ball. Oh, they're all clearly onside. That's a great kick chase. He's under enormous pressure here. Oh, gee.
Yeah,
They're entitled to go up for the ball, aren't they? I wouldn't have said that there was any deliberate pushing there. Manly may be feeling a bit disappointed about a try scored there.
So no score on the board here at Brookvale after 5 minutes of play. Retchless. Tackled 30 out from his own line. And South Queensland need to maintain their intensity and enthusiasm as Solodjinkin plays it. That goes back to one of their key players, Craig Wilson, who's had a pretty good season this year in a beaten side. Now Teven puts in the kick towards Hopowate's wing. And Hopawate lets it float over his head, scrambles back, picks it up 10 out from his own line, and gets away from a couple of tackles. Hopawate, he is a machine, this bloke. And when he's playing with confidence, he's very hard to stop. Manly get a penalty, Brian.
Yeah, well, he's overcooked the effort to get him into touch there by Mark Prothero, I think. But Hopowate's pulled through an earlier tackle than that, and you can see clearly here that they've made that extra effort to get him into touch. But they'll need to kick chase much better than that. They kicked the ball on the 4th play there, so you know it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. But the other side of getting down the other end, courtesy of an early kick, is to make a good tackle and not give away a dumb penalty that gets Manly back into your own half.
Expert comments from Parramatta coach Brian Smith as Gillespie, the veteran, gallops up to be tackled 5 metres on the Crushers side of halfway. Tuvey in the acting half roll calls Terry Hill back on the inside, and Terry Hill's away. He's got the pace, he's got the size, has a man inside. Unfortunately, it goes to ground. Well, Terry Hill looking magnificent whenever he touches the ball today.
He missed last week's game, Terry Hill, and maybe that was an important factor that people overlooked. Look at him there for strength. He's ripped straight through Craig Teven's tackle. Showed some pace, but Clinton Shifscott, yeah, that bloke, the fullback, he's wrapped him up well and put some pressure on. Oh, Jimmy Sedaris is disappointed with his soccer skills. He had a chance to play on from that.
Danny Moore was a player that went back on the inside, did the right thing, but the pass was, well, not perfectly executed. Now in possession for South Queensland is Jason Hudson, an exciting attacking player who can be a little error-prone in his game, sadly. They get the penalty, the Crushers, over exuberance in the tackle. I think you'll find Craig Innes was the man incurring the wrath of the referee.
He's great on his feet, Jason Hudson, and you can actually hear Manly players screaming out to one another to get them on their backs, get them on their backs. And they've got him on his back, but conceded a penalty. Again, slightly overcooked.
So the Crushers now find themselves back in possession right on the halfway line. Teven is the playmaker this afternoon. Now just a couple of metres on Manly's side of halfway. If you may have just joined us, no score on the board here. Manly did get across the line with Danny Moore off a high kick, but it was subsequently disallowed. And the Crushers have had a little bit of possession too. Teven, player ran in front of him. He now pops the pass to Solid-Jinkin, who's met by some solid Manly defence in Gartner, and Menzies on tackle number 5. It goes back to Retchless, elects not to kick. He passes to Wilson and turns Terry Hill around with that nice little kick, which I guess travelled 12 metres before going in the touch.
Yeah, I think that they could have mounted more pressure from a better kick than that. I know it's tricky conditions and trying to control the ball off his foot here. See the replay. It is very hard with the ball being the ground being so greasy. They needed that ball to stay in play or to put the ball in the air and contest it. That's just conceding possession almost certainly here from another scrum.
I note Cliff Lyons warming up on the bench too, as is Hunter. So there might be some fresh troops going on for Manly shortly. Neil Tierney also doing some stretching. Fulton might flog the interchange bench today. Tuvey finds Hancock. Now it's with Craig Innes. Met in a good tackle by Michael Eager. Wrapped him up ball and all. 30 out from his own line. This is Gartner. One of the finds of rugby league over the past couple of seasons, Daniel Gartner. There's the veteran Lions. How'd you like to have a bloke like him playing on your bench, Brian Smith?
Yeah, he's a talented player. He means so much to Manly. He just does things so well.
A couple of players not happy about that. As Hopawati goes into touch, but Manly get the penalty anyway. Exactly the same set of circumstances as we saw 3 minutes ago.
It's a good tackle by Jason Went there. A combination with his centre. Oh, gee, you'd have to say they're slightly unlucky there.
It was just a momentum thing, wasn't it?
It appeared to be.
So Manly throw the ball to David Gillespie. The effervescent David Gillespie, tackle 31 out. Now towards the western side of the ground, Kosef calls Terry Hill back on the inside. And the Crushers equal to the task defensively at the moment. Sidaris out of acting half, goes for a gallop, links up now with his skipper Jeff Tuvey, throwing the dummy. They've got to put this little bloke on the ground. Tuvey's got too much time. He slices through, pops a magic ball back on the inside, and Manly pulled up 2 blades of grass short. Terry Hill's at acting half. Over the top of Gillespie's head, picked up by Craig Field, cuts out a couple of players to Steve Menzies. Now to Hancock, Innes on the inside to Hopawati. A beautiful rugby league try by Manly. Hopawati making no mistake, slamming it down for a 4-pointer. And put that down to the Crushers letting Jeff Tuvey run for what seemed like half an hour, Brian.
He put the cat was put amongst the pigeons and initially by Jimmy Sidaris. As you said, David, they had just pulled up inches short there. Craig Field does well, doesn't he, in the wet there to pick up a loose ball. And that's a magic long ball right on the button. Nice hands here. And this is a combination that's becoming quite awesome. Craig Innes turning that man mountain, John Hopawati, back on the inside. He does very well to clean that up, Craig Field. Finds the right player. Menzies pushes the ball out. He knows they've got some numbers on the outside. But look at this. A freight train coming back against the grain. All the Crushers sliding across and then him coming back against the flow of the defence. That's just so hard. He's a big man, John Hopawati, and he's delivered a great ball by his centre there for what in the end was a fairly simple try for them.
Pretty to watch though in these conditions, wasn't it? Now Craig Field, a difficult attempted conversion from wide out. Almost on the 20-metre line. He moves in. Doesn't look too bad, Craig Field. It's just going to get waved away. Good kick, I think, in the conditions, Brian.
My word, it was right up there. He made them have a look at it. He'll be happier with his with that pass that he's just thrown. I think he's an important part of Manly's resurgence that they're going to try to ignite today, I'm sure. Craig Field's passing is a really big factor in his game.
The sun peeping through the massive cloud cover above Brookvale Oval. It's the first time we've seen the sun in Sydney for a while.
This is a key time for the Crushers as well. They've had this problem where they've gone well for passages, and then they tend to get bang, bang, bang against them. 2 or 3 tries in quick succession. I'm sure they'll be working hard at their concentration here now.
Mark Carroll, 21 out, Tuvey. Now Nick Kosef, New South Wales origin player, had a good series too. Sidaris Throws the ball onto the chest of Craig Field, who accelerates. Popped the ball back on the inside to the man that threw in the pass, Sadaris. Now to Hopawate. Is there any stopping him? They do this time. 35 out. Tuvey calls it to the left. And now links up with Craig Field, who darts back off his left foot. They're 20 out. I've got to say, this is starting to look a little ominous for South Queensland. Manly making plenty of yardage when they're in possession. Now Nick Kosef pops it onto Steve Menzies' chest, who runs another 5 metres. He had Terry Hill and Danny Moore on his right. That's tackle number 5. Tuvey. Across field to Craig Field. This is a set move. Racing through is Craig Innes. And covering it for South Queensland was Jason Vent.
Well, wasn't that a beautiful piece of play by the defensive winger there? A great kick into the in goal. He must have felt the breath of Craig Hancock and Innes chasing after the ball in the in goal, and he's just shepherded the ball over the in goal area, the dead ball line, and as a consequence, here we see the Crushers coming away instead of having a back-to-back set to defend. Yeah. That's a brilliant piece of wing play by young Jason Vent. Very
intelligent, given the pressure he was under. Would have been all too tempting to just dive on the ball. Now this is Matt Toshak. It's Manly 4 leading the Crushers no score after exactly 15 minutes of play here at Brookvale. That's tackle 5. Antonik throws the ball to Teven. Low style kick, which is going to probably go dead in goal. It does so. Hancock had it covered well and truly anyway.
Yeah, that's a disappointment for them, because they've actually done very well on the front part of their set there. Got well down the field, controlled the ball, made the yards, but then conceded possession by a soft kick, kicking the ball dead instead of it dying in goal and trapping them in there for a repeat set themselves.
So Mark Carroll once again having a busy game in the early stages of this match. Now David Gillespie playing in jumper number 17. Kosef, impressive runner of the football, and he carries it well onto the Crushers side of halfway. There's an ordinary pass from Tuvey. Field couldn't get anywhere near it. Here's Gardner. He's found another gap. Now Terry Hill calls for it to Danny Moore. Put down the glasses. Another Manly try, and does what good wingers should do. Promotes the football around behind the goalpost. Well, I said it a couple of minutes ago. It's starting to look ominous, Brian.
Yeah, well, that was in the wind. You could feel it coming. And Manly starting to find themselves in the groove. And at this point in the game, the Crushers just really struggling. And you'll see here the ball's tidied up. A very loose pass again from the dummy half. This time, Jeff Tuvey, but picked up brilliantly. And Daniel Gartner, they're booting a couple of soft tackles and making it look easy, as good players do. Jason Hudson just held on for a fraction too long. Danny Moore did brilliantly to get around there. So a lack of concentration by the Crushers. That's going to turn 4 into 8, now into 10 on that play. 10 points to 0 after this kick at goal, I'm sure, by Craig Field.
Danny Moore planting the ball down behind the post.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure.
And Craig Field, whilst we've been showing you the replay of that try, has missed a sitter. He's missed the conversion from right in front. 8 points to 0 though, Manly.
Danny Moore's entitled to ask a question, really, isn't he? What did he bother going all that way around for?
And I think he will ask the question too. You couldn't resist, could you?
Not a great day for goal kicking, I've got to say, David, but you'd expect him to kick that one, I suppose.
So South Queensland, after a reasonably bright start, have capitulated to this Manly machine at this stage. Mark Carroll got away from the first attempted tackle by Matt Bickerstaff, who's now on for the Crushers. That's him in jumper 15, following the play across. And the man in 16 making that tackle is David Cooper. Jeff Tuvey, Kosef, Menzies. They're not moving up quick enough, Brian, South Queensland.
Yeah, they're starting to struggle with the strength of Manly as well. You see Menzies almost break that tackle, and eventually they're going to pop some passes out of those tackles or break completely free.
The way that try was created by Manly a couple of minutes ago showed the fact that South Queensland are just not up there sharp enough. When Tuvey threw the loose ball out of acting half, they should have jumped up in Manly's faces at that point. Now it's Tchaikovsky for South Queensland in possession and surrounded by Manly players. Innes makes the tackle with the assistance of Menzies.
They need a good set here, the Queensland Crushers, and they look as if they're struggling there. Bogged down in their own half. They need someone to give them a bit of spark here, to put some pressure back on Manly.
Bloke playing the ball now, Hudson, can provide that sort of spark to which you allude. And Neil Turney also now on for Manly, so the benches working overtime at this stage as South Queensland bring it up to be tackled 41 out from their own try line. Antonick gives the ball to Teven, who kicked that just outside his own 40, I think you'll find. And Hancock falling back for Manly. He's got Danny Moore with him, and he elects to take the hit up on his own.
That's a great set. They've done well. Coming off their own goal line, and they've trapped Manly inside their 10. There's 2 plays now on their Manly on their 15. This is the play. They need to really try to strangle Manly here and hold them in their own area.
Neil Turney, as I said a couple of moments ago, now on the puck. He's off for Gillespie, the man that you're looking at. And Manly now 39 out from their own try line, as the referee, Sean Hampstead, awards them a penalty, and it was certainly going to come because the Crushers, I think, felt like a little bit of Rip Van Winkle. They were lying all over the top of the tackled man. There's another look at it.
That's that's just dumb. I mean, you understand what they're trying to do. They don't want the Manly machine to get on the roll and play the ball quickly and unsettle their defence and be attacking them. But to give away cheap penalties is not going to make it any better.
And the crowd here at Brookvale erupting because their favourite son, Cliff Lyons, now coming onto the park to replace Craig Field. And the crowd do love this bloke here at Brookvale. Here they come again, Manly, through Daniel Gartner. He's tackled 31 out. They lead by 8 points to 0. Sidaris accelerating and almost getting the ball away there too. Crushers just lacking enthusiasm and commitment defensively. Turney calls for it on the left and got it. Retzless dives across and grabs him. Now this is Hunter, I think you'll find. Oh, miracle stuff by Menzies. Unfortunately couldn't hold on to it. Looked like a slips fieldsman.
Wasn't that a great catch? He was unlucky that he lost his... It wasn't his hands that let him down. It was the fact that his feet slipped out from under him.
That's right. The catch that Alan Border would be proud of, Brian.
Word.
There's a Crushers penalty now. Manly inside the 10. That's the first penalty in this game so far for inside the 10, which is a rarity after 20 minutes of play. And it's not because he's necessarily letting them stand up inside the 10 either, is it?
No, I think he's doing quite a reasonable job in that area. Seems like his referee's penchant today is to get the tackle player up and into action as quick as he can.
David Cooper for South Queensland. Tackled 40 out from the Manly line by Menzies. Now Wilson throws a dummy. Nice short ball to Matt Toshak. Couldn't break the defensive wall comprising Sidaris and Tuvi, though. Teven. And now to Clinton O'Brien on tackle number 5. Antonick, which way will he go? He swings it to the right through Teven. A little chip over the top. A little bit of pressure here for Manly, too. The Crushers racing through. Hopawate missed it cold.
The Crushers, possession. They need something out of one of those situations. They've got to come up with something, with some points that gives them a bit of confidence and a bit of a reward for effort put in. They just couldn't get the bounce there. They attacked the ball quite well in the air.
Terry Hill having a wrestling match out there at the moment. Plays it back to Jeff Tuvey. Now Tierney. And offloaded. All too easily, I'm afraid, I've got to say. Back to Hancock, who was tackled by Cooper. To the right they work it. Sidaris running like an extra forward. It's Scott Fulton now on, occupying the acting half role. Tuvey now back at halfback. They've got so many options, Manly, haven't they? So from the kick, Szykovsky is tackled by Steve Menzies and Craig Innes. 8 points to 0 in favour of Manly after 21 minutes in this game. Small crowd in, dreadful weather conditions as Hudson tries to do something. Goose stepping run out of acting half. And the Crushers on the attack. They find themselves tackled on the halfway line. O'Brien looking for the inside ball. Gartner was there, as was Another defender as the kick now goes through from South Queensland, picked up by John Hapawate. And he really, on occasions, treats the defence with contempt, doesn't he, Hapawate?
He's just so big, you know, and so round. Players find it hard to get their arms around him to make what you consider to be an orthodox tackle. It's not just his body, his legs are like tree trunks as well.
And that's giving him a rap too. Tierney. They do boast one of the biggest players in the minor grades too, Billy Weepu. We were watching him in second grade today. He is a giant. With what must be the worst surname in rugby league, the poor fellow. So the clearing kick goes down to Shikovsky, who positionally has been on the spot today. Let's take a look at those lower grade scores for you. And in the under-20s, Manly 34 defeating the Queenslanders 18. And in second grade, 22 points to 6, Manly running out convincing winners there too. So the Crushers trying desperately to do something. They dropped the ball, and guess who was there? Terry Hill picked it up rapidly. Tuvey back into the active role now. Hancock into the back line. Nick Kosef, Cliff Lyons, Steve Menzies. Wherever Cliff Lyons is, you can bet your life Menzies will be not far away.
That was a great read by Michael Ego. He was confronted with a 3-on-2 there. He read it brilliantly.
Now Steve Menzies finds a little pasture to weave his magic in. It goes back to Tierney, who has Lyons in support. Lyons has got plenty of time to set up the support player, which in this case is Hancock. They're going very heavy underfoot down at that part of the ground. Tuvey, Terry Hill shows the ball. He's so big and strong. Runs straight over the top of them like a runaway locomotive. Has he got it down? I think you'll find he's gone into touch. The man on the sideline's done nothing. That's a Manly try to Terry Hill, who has deserved to score a try. Powerhouse run. Nothing wrong with his groin, Brian.
No, he's been a real igniter of their attack this afternoon. They've given him some early ball, which he likes to get before the line, and he's gone around the outside. This is his favourite play. He's very strong, Terry Hill, and he's got pace. He goes around the outside of his opponent, actually shrugs him away, falls down in the process, but there's plenty of work to do there. Some good footwork and real strength, and I don't think there's any real doubt there that we'll get a clearer look perhaps here, but he looks as if he got the ball down as well, showing just what a skillful player he is, as well as that strength and determination. Look at that. That's a great try, a great individual try.
I'd like to see it from head on because, as I called it, I thought there might have been some doubt. He perhaps just clobbered the corner post with his right shoulder as he slammed it down. Here we go. Well, you tell me, Brian Smith.
I think the doubt has gone with the attacking player there. Is that what you're supposed to diplomatically
Half of his
say?
body was into touch before he put the ball down.
I don't know that he'd actually touched that pole first. I think you'd need to freeze frame that to a 1,000th of a second. And probably good that the score has gone with the attacking team when there is a somewhat of a query.
Anyway, he's deserved the try, as I said. He's been probably the most explosive attacking player on the field so far. The rain pouring now at Brookvale as Innes attempts this conversion from wide out on the 20-metre line. He moves in. The left footer just chips at it, really, and falls well short. In fact, that was a very ordinary kick. It's got to be said in awful conditions, though. So Manly 12, leading South Queensland donut. And we've got 15 minutes now remaining in this first half.
And this is really danger time. If the strength of Terry Hill here, extremely evident, but does he? Oh gee, I think in freeze frame, I think he might have touched that corner post, but these referees and touch judges don't have the benefit that we have.
Yeah, that's true. And the touch judge, or rather the linesman, I was waiting for him to put the flag up. Anyway, we won't dwell on it. It's been awarded as a try. I think there's some doubt over it, though. You'll make up your own mind at home, I'm sure, as Mark Carroll goes for one of his typical block-busting runs. 21 outs.
This is a real danger time now for the Crushers. At 12-0 down, if they could jag a try back again, they're in the game. If they are scored again before half-time, then they're really looking down the barrel. They need to lift themselves. They've got to put the bloke with the ball on the ground much stronger than they have been in the past 10 minutes or so.
So Neil Turney. Some more interchanging activity as Mark Carroll goes to the sideline for a rest. Dave Gillespie back onto the field in jumper 17. Cliff Lyons kicks over the top of the winger's head. Jason Hudson, that finds touch 18 metres out from the Crushers try line, and the spectators here at Brookvale
are moving quicker than the players.
Whatever cover they can find. I just saw a bloke slip under a garbage bin.
Yeah, well, there's not many more places you can hide here at the moment. People are rushing everywhere. It is abominable conditions. It's really tough for footy.
A bloke just bought a Streets Magnum so he could dive under the wrapper when he discarded it. So the Crushers will get the scrum feed. And they've really got to hang on here. As Brian Smith said, they can ill afford for Manly to cross again, or they will be on the end of a cricket score. Hudson, flamboyant runner of the football. In driving rain at Brookvale, there's a good burst out of acting half and coughs up possession.
I think there's a high tackle here, David. He has coughed up possession, but he might have coughed up his Adam's apple at the same time.
And being called out is Scott Fulton in jumper number 15. Let's have another look at it for you. And it was, in fact, Aaron Moole, the 5'8". Yeah, it was around the throat, all right.
He's had a bit of a problem of late. I think he's had a couple of visits or been put on report. Scott Fulton, he'll need to be careful with that.
And now Clinton O'Brien for South Queensland, met by Neil Turney in a bone-crunching hit. Drove the man back. Teven offloading to Still Retchless, one of the most apt names for a rugby league player. There's the penalties for you. 4-3 in favour of South Queensland. They throw the ball wide. Ooh, some heavy body contact out there on Michael Eager, who no sooner got the ball and he was smashed. Across the park they come. Very heavy conditions here at Brookvale. Manly 12, the Crushers no score. 10 out from half-time. Toshak to play it. Hudson out of acting half. A good little run of some 10 metres. Who's really one of their key attacking weapons, this Crushers side.
He is, David, and I think that was brilliant, or smart tactics at least by Hudson. I just don't see the point in trying to shift the ball across the field. This is the sort of stuff that they need to do. Get up, play the ball as quickly as possible and attack Manly around the rucks. The fewest number of passes possible. Really trying to put some good footwork on, as Hudson did there.
It's got to be said, the Manly marker defence on that occasion left well and truly in his wake. Now it's Retchless. Goes straight towards the Manly goalposts. Good positional opportunity for them. Teven calls a man back on the inside. Now it's with Tchaikovsky, who's met by Menzies. And they'd love, from a psychological point of view, to slam down a 4-pointer here and convert it. Moole steps off his right foot. And he's a good little player. Moole, he gets himself across the line for a try. That really came from nothing. The Manly defence just fell off him. It caught me unawares, actually.
I've seen him do this 2 or 3 times this year, David. He's a very strong player and for some reason causes a lot of problems to defenders. He likes this play where he comes back from where the ball just came to him. And he takes, as a result, he takes on some blokes through the middle of the ruck there. And unless they're on their game, he's got that ability to evade tackles. And he's done particularly well here because there's some very good defenders in the centre of Manly's ruck. But look at this.
Yeah, Menzies fell off him. There's Menzies going in low. He's just slipped off him almost.
I tell you what, he's beaten Menzies, Fulton and Gartner and taken Hancock across the line. There was really nothing doing there.
No, I thought nothing was on.
As a result, if he kicks this goal, they're back to within a converted try. So Manly are back under pressure after owning this game, really, for the what have we gone, 32 minutes. They've had 10 seconds or 2 seconds really of lapsing defence and they've been punished.
And in conditions like this, a 6-point ball game is a satisfactory result for Crushers coach Steve Bleakley to work on when they go back into the sheds. So Tchaikovsky from right in front. Nothing's a lay down misere in weather conditions like this though. He uses a pile of sand. He's got the ball set very high off the ground and he moves in. And successful. Remarkable. As Brian Smith has just said, Manly have totally dominated this game. They find themselves leading by 12 points to 6, which is really a flattering scoreline for the Crushers.
Well, Manly really have been the ones who've posed almost all the attacking threats in this half, and yet one converted try is all they lead by. And again, I keep saying it, but we've now got a really important 7 minutes before half-time. Again, I think you're right. I think Steve Bleakley and the Crushers will be content, almost content if you can be, to go in at this scoreline, and Manly will be keen to do something about it to get some real reward for the dominance that they've had in this half.
So if the Crushers find themselves trailing by 12-6, they can get their defensive house in order in a sound kicking game.
This is smart.
Difficult to score tries in these conditions. It could be a tough struggle in the second half.
This is the way to play. It limits. It does limit the way your options. Oh, that's a tough call. Oh, that's a tough call. Well, that player is still in motion.
Yeah, Tchaikovsky was the man in question. He popped the ball away. The referee Hampstead has obviously ruled he's called held.
It's not only do they concede possession, but look what was going to happen here.
That's a very
they were going to play on from that, and there was a potential break or at least some yardage in that. That's a really tough call.
I've got to say that was a very, very tough call. I'm trying to be diplomatic. I was going to say lunacy. Now it's Nick Kosef working the short blind side, the western side of Brookvale. 12-6 in favour of Manly, in case you may have just joined us. And just a few minutes now remaining in this first half as Mark Carroll charges at the Crushers' defensive line. Antoniuk was there to stop him, though. Now it's with Gartner. And he's tackled some 15 metres out from the Crushers' line. Steady rain falling at Brookvale. Sidaris works the short blind side. Nobody at home. The Crushers may come up with this.
Oh, that's a great loose ball by Michael Eager there. He's pushed really hard to get that loose pass from Sidaris, and that's, well, it's at least given them possession and a chance to ease the pressure that they came. Look at this. That ball's there, and it's for anyone who wants it. Who wants it most? Michael Eager wanted it, and he got it back for his team.
Still Retzless going for a run. Let's have a look at the handling errors in this game. 4-3. Manly leading that stat. As we now see David Cooper taking the hit up for the Crushers. Across the park they come. And Manly's intensity may have just dropped off a little in the last 10 minutes. That's tackle number 5 back to Teven. Kicked it just outside his own 40.
That's a good dart though. He's found space right up the middle. Gives his chasers a chance.
Andrew Hunter, he can run this bloke. He's away. Hunter bursting away down the western touchline. He looks for a man on the inside. Tchaikovsky came across and got him in a copybook tackle, it's got to be said. I think I'm right in saying Hunter's the quickest bloke in the club here at Manly. He can gallop. Now it's Cliff Lyons. He finds himself in space. He's away, the veteran. Pops a ball high across to John Hopawate, who breaks away from tackles. The Crushers are there in numbers. Exciting passage of play by Manly. The Crushers will be desperate to keep them out. Tuvey across the field. Long pass from Nick Kosef to Gartner, who drops the ball.
Oh, what a reliever. They were all over the shop. The Crushers' defence was gone. It was gone right at the start when they kicked the ball brilliantly to the other end of the field, and their kick chase was awful. And they're at 6s and 7s all over the place here. And it was a finger in there by Craig Wilson that's pulled Gartner's arm down and released a very slippery ball and saved their bacon. With 4 to go before half-time, they're clinging on to a 6-point deficit.
Now
is that what you do when you're behind?
Now here goes Hudson, the speed machine, comes across field. Oh, he dropped it there in that ruck. Tuvey's been penalised. So the Crushers take the quick tap. Oh no, Manly back in possession. You can't afford to do that sort of thing with this side. As now Manly launch another attacking raid, and they're pulled up 10 metres out from the South Queensland try line. Well, that's the sort of thing that makes coaches' hearts bleed. Neil Tanney goes for a strong run. They're 5 metres out Manly, and we're just a couple of minutes out from half-time in this game. Tuvey across the field to Cliffy Lyons, links up with Terry Hill. Terry Hill throws himself at the South Queensland line. Back inside to Hancock, they must score. He's got it down all right, that'll be a try. Waiting for Sean Hampstead to confirm the fact. Well, you've got to feel a little sorry for South Queensland, but put it down to them coughing up possession cheaply in their own danger zone. You can't do that when you're playing any football side, let alone Manly. And Terry Hill again involved in that try. He's having a huge game, Hill.
Again, they get him early ball. Lyons gets the ball here to him. He gets the ball in front of the defensive line. Toshak hasn't come forward far enough. That's a great offload by Terry Hill. Good bump by Hancock. He had some work to do and gets in low and hard. Tuvi's pass to Lyons. Lyons feeding that early pass. Can you see there? Toshak just not pushing forward quickly enough. And it's a fair bump on Bickerstaff by that man there, Craig Hancock. He was determined to get that ball down, and they're now into that 10-point lead. And that disappointing time for the Crushers yet again. They scored against in the last 5 before half-time. Jason Hudson, who's been a real spark, as you've called there, Tappy, a number of times for them, he was the one who's committed that very vital error.
Now the third kicker being used today for Manly is Andrew Hunter. Not a bad-looking kick. It's going to hook away to the left of the uprights, but it looked okay in flight. So they've now tried Craigfield, Hunter, and a third kicker. Craig Innes it was. Craig Innes, who was unsuccessful.
I wouldn't like to be having to kick today on this field. It's pretty boggy, and the rain's really, you know, it's coming down fairly steadily. It's not a day for goal kickers.
It is a problem for Manly though, Brian. The goal kicking department. They've been using Craigfield for most of the year, and he's done a satisfactory job.
I guess the real factor there is that everyone's measuring up against what they've had.
Yeah, true.
And now they don't have Matthew Ridge, and it's a fair climb down from where he is. He's one of the all-time great goal kickers.
Craig Hancock to play the ball for Manly. The half-time siren will sound any time. Now, a big day of sport on Sports Australia. The Soccer International, the World Cup qualifying match between the Socceroos and the New Zealand All Whites, which of course was called off at the SFS last night, is being played tonight at Parramatta Stadium, and you'll see it live and exclusive on Sports Australia from 6:50 right through until 9 o'clock. Terry Venables, as coach, has steered the Socceroos to 10 consecutive victories, and they're hungry to keep it going after having beaten New Zealand 3-0 last weekend in Auckland. There's half-time at Brookvale Oval, and I think a scoreline that better reflects the way the first half has been played sees Manly going to the dressing sheds, leading by 16 points to 6 over South Queensland. As we now take you back to Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. And welcome back to Brookvale Oval for the second half of this clash between Manly and the South Queensland Crushers, where the Sea Eagles lead by 16 points to 6. In very heavy weather conditions, and I'm sure we're going to see more rain in the second half. It's stopped for the moment, and there's the half-time summary for you. 16-6 in favour of Manly. 4 tries to the Sea Eagles. John Hopewate, Danny Moore, Terry Hill and Craig Hancock. There's been 3 kickers used. Craigfield, Innes and Hunter, none of them successful. And for South Queensland, their 5/8 Aaron Moole scoring the try, and Tchaikovsky from right in front successful with the conversion. So the Crushers now to defend the northern end of Brookvale. Referee is Sean Hamstead, and Craigfield back on for the second half after interchanging with Cliff Lyons in the first 40 minutes. So field gets play underway once more, and it's really all up to South Queensland now to show if they've got the ticker required to stay on equal terms to remain competitive with this Manly outfit. Deep inside their own danger zone, attempting to get it out to the 20-metre line. There's been a couple of tough calls go against them in the first half by the referee. A couple that I found confusing, particularly in that ruck area. Now stretching out for them is Craig Wilson. And I'm joined by Parramatta coach Brian Smith in commentary. How do you see the prospects of the Crushers in the second half?
Oh, I think you're being a bit defeatist there, Tappy. Really saying hopeful of staying in contact or not getting whitewashed. I suppose in reality that's about how it is, deep down in their minds. But, you know, there's some hope. If they can score first in this game, they could put some pressure on Manly, and at 16-6 it's not beyond them. I'll tell you what I found amazing. There's only a handful of errors each, you know, in the first half for the conditions that they're playing under before the game started, and then it pelted down rain in the middle and continues to drizzle even now. You know, I reckon that's testimony to both teams and the quality of the football they come up with.
Manly feed, 10 out from their own try line, 10 in from the western touch line. Field immediately offloads to Craig Innes, who pirouettes in the tackle. Nice fast play the ball. Now Field calling for it. Has Menzies in support. Offloads to the man they call Beaver.
They've done well there, the Crushers. That's a favourite player, Manly's. Hit in from the scrum and then come straight back down that short side to... and here they go again, bringing the ball back towards Menzies. Last week against North Sydney, they scored or made a brilliant break on that, and was that's a real play. They really look for Beaver Menzies to split a short side opposition when they're least suspecting it.
Jeff Tuvey decides to put boot to ball. Oh, nicely taken there by Hudson, who's had a pretty good game, it's got to be said, Hudson.
Just that one shocking error, mate. And it really put them under pressure just before half-time, and on that last occasion, they just couldn't quite sustain that pressure. It was the straw that broke the back. Instead of being 6 behind, they're now 10, and they really need a good start to this second half. They're controlling the ball well. Be nice to be at the other end of the park, though.
You make a good point. Very few handling errors given the conditions. Now this is Moole, who scored their try just before half-time. Nice individual effort too it was. Antonic out of acting half. Thought he saw a hole there. It closed quickly though when Jim Sedaris clambered around his legs. Now it goes back to Teven. Shaped a kick, decided not to. Left that to Wilson. On tackle number 5. Nicely picked up low by Danny Moore, who was met by Matt Toshak. Tuvey at acting half. Hancock, long pass to Craig Field. Numbers here for Manly. Innes accelerates.
Good tackle.
Yeah, it was a tackle that was the desired kind of tackle. The ball and all at that stage, and it was Michael Egar doing the job for them. 16-6 in favour of Manly. Another look at it. Just went in and did his best, the defender. And now Manly very close to the western touchline as Tuvey takes the ball from Kosef, who played it. Now it's Gillespie keeping the ball alive. Manly. Hancock to Menzies. He sights an opening back on the inside. And Manly on tackle 5. What will they do? Craig Field puts it up high in the sky. There's some chases, including Hopawate, nicely taken by Jason Vent, who was tackled very quickly by Hopawate. Tchaikovsky scrambling out of acting half. Hopawate coming across with a jersey grabber. Whatever it takes. Gillespie, one of the big hitters in rugby league over the last decade, chopping the man down. Now Hudson, almost through. Guess who it was clinging to him? D. Gillespie. South Queensland. Bit of razzle-dazzle in their play at the moment.
They're playing smart. They're getting out of dummy half, put the step on, bit of footwork, play the ball fast, limit the number of occasions you need to pass the ball. And they've come up with a pretty fair set again there. I really like the way Jason Vent caught the ball there on the bob there. He was under extreme pressure. Hopowate's shadow's enough to daunt anybody. And Hopawate was on full scream chase there. He caught the ball well, stayed in the field of play, and as a result, the Crushers have done pretty well on that set.
Scramble pack, 21 out.
Makes a big difference. You drop a ball like that under pressure on your own goal line with people swooping all over it. You know, your team's continually under pressure.
Yeah, and the scoreboard normally reflects the sort of problems it can create. Now it goes out to Tuvey. Innes on the inside, elected not to give it to him. Links up with Hancock, back on the inside to Terry Hill. He finds himself in open space again. He fends his way through. Has he got the pace, Terry Hill? He's got support in Craig Field. He's having a blinder, Terry Hill, today.
A great chase back by the Crushers as well.
Wasn't it ever? Now it's
not
Tuvey
over.
to Daniel Gardner. I think you're right, Brian Smith. Sedaris on the inside to Steve Menzies. He'll desperately try and keep the ball alive. He does so. Picked up by Daniel Gardner. Here they come, the Manly machine. It's going to be Nick Kosef. What will he do? He keeps the ball before offloading now to Danny Moore, who kept the ball alive as Craig Field in possession for them. Well, South Queensland, they're spinning. They don't know what to do. Carroll, a runner that will go straight and hard every time he's in possession. Tuvey at acting half on tackle 5. Craig Field, dummies, threw a ball out the back door. No one was expecting it. Danny Moore's got it now and puts the kick up in the air. Teven's under it for South Queensland. He took it all right. And he also took the tackle of David Gillespie.
What a well-placed kick by Danny Moore. He got an awful ball out there, or he was on the end of a mad scramble. And he placed this kick back in off his right foot near the touchline, and it's inch perfect, and with a good chase on it. Good reaction by the centre of the field, the chasing team, and as a result, they get this back-to-back possessions. This is the sort of stuff that the Crushers really struggle with. This will test them.
So Tchaikovsky takes the goal line dropout, which sails down to Hancock on the full. Back he comes. Taken by Nathan Solojinkin for South Queensland. The defender, Carroll. Like to see Carroll's hit-ups. He's been busy when he's been on the field. Plays it in some slush. Field. Now it's Cement Gillespie.
Good offload.
Offloading the ball frequently today when in possession. Now Jeff Tooby picks it up. He accelerates. Pops it back on the inside to Nick Kosef, who worked it back on the inside. Sedaris now. Manly looking very dangerous as Innes gets up to play it. South Queensland under heavy pressure. How much more can they absorb? Tuvey off Hill. Now Hancock. He's got Gardner in support. Antonik was there around the leg. Tchaikovsky up high. Tuvey towards the eastern side of the ground. Dribbles it in goal and picked up by Hudson, who's grounded in his own in-goal area.
Well, he rebounded off about 3 or 4 guys here, desperately trying to get out of his in-goal. Watch him here. A well-placed, well-weighted kick by Jeff Tuvey. That's a terrible thing to have to pick. Oh, he juggled it first. Thought he was out. Oh, no. Manly, they're in numbers and did the job. And here's, what's this? 3 in a row. I mean, this is a real examination of the quality of their defence and their resolve. Mentally, can they cope with it? Oh, it's a good kick. That's a good kick.
David Gillespie finds himself sprinting back for it. What a warhorse in the game of rugby league this bloke has been, Gillespie, for so long now. Retired last year on a high after Manly winning the Optus Cup. There's the stat for you, 90-74 in the tackle department. And Gillespie, with the players like Cunningham and Roberts leaving the club, said to Bozo Fulton, I think I've got one more year in you. Now Manly tackled on the 20. Field to Tuvey. He's got plenty of options, decides to give it to Innes, who juggled it. It's like a cake of soap out there, the football. Sedaris. Now Mark Carroll storming onto it. Oh, a flick pass of sorts that went badly astray, and Tchaikovsky comes up with the ball for the Crushers.
How good are his reflexes, Tchaikovsky there? The ball's just flown out. As you say, David, I mean, the ball is just this really greasy. It is synthetic, but look at this. Oh, Spud's lost direction. That's a great set of hands. Great work.
So Hudson now for the Crushers, attempting to kickstart them. Let's take a look at the handling errors. Only 10 really, in conditions like this, more than acceptable. Manly ahead on that stat too, which is probably a little surprising. That's tackle 5. Back to Craig Teven. A towering kick that finds touch.
Lucks of fortune there.
Oh yeah, 31 out.
That was going to be ugly. If that ball had gone out on the full, they'd have been right back on their own, in their own area. The ball's just landed inch perfect and took a right-hander and gone into touch in front of Hopewade.
Surprised Hopewade a bit.
Well, he did well not to even attempt to catch that, I think. The ball was falling well in front of him. They still get possession. Was that him licking his lips?
Just look at the amount of trainers on the field, will you, at the moment. 3 of them leaving. It's an aspect of the game that I find particularly annoying.
Listen,
Hopewade.
You get too old.
You don't share my views on that one, obviously.
It can be, mate. I understand what you're saying.
Now Terry Hill. And Crushers' defence finding him a real handful today. Matt Toshak got him on that occasion. Tuvey. Neil Turney. Charges towards the Crushers' defensive line. Antonik's had a busy game in defence today, Brian, the number 9 for the Crushers.
He's a tough little fellow. They've turned him back from half-back into a hooker again.
Here's a chance for South Queensland to come up with possession. It was an ordinary passage of play by Manly. Hill couldn't handle. Sedaris has the ball back, but It is a knock on.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. You know, when you're on the bottom like the Crushers are, you know, they cop plenty of pays during the year, and you know, maybe some of them are deserved. But this group of blokes there, they've been like punch-drunk fighters on their own goal line there for set after set, and they've shown some real pride. I hope they can keep this up, and maybe, you know, a point or two would be handy, a try or two, I should say. But if they can retain respect, if they can maintain this sort of defensive effort and quality, you know, they can put some pressure on Manly before the end of this game.
Oh, spectacular. David Cooper to get up and play it. Now Teven, the playmaker, to Retzelis, who found a support player.
Good carry,
was able to make some good groundage. That's Matt Bickerstaff. Now they come across the other side of the park. And this is Mark Prothero. He's tackled 30 out. Coach Steve Bleakley sitting in the stands here at Brookvale. Craig Wilson puts boot to ball. He does have the winger Hudson flying through, who leaps back spectacularly. He got it back for them too. Nice piece of play. Looked great. Crushers going very close to scoring here. They're on the attack. A ball that was trying to be popped, and it's gone to ground. Manly come up with it. Brian Smith.
Yeah, well, Manly deserve credit too. Some good defence there by them, right on their goal line. Well, they're under some pressure here. Crushers are building in confidence here in the second half. They've gone almost 15 minutes here of weathering a Manly storm, and now they get the chance to put the squeeze back on their opposition in their own area of the field, and really struggling to get out at this point.
Neil Turney with his second touch of the ball in this set. A couple of metres in from the western touchline. Fulton at acting half. Now it's with Daniel Gartner, who thought about throwing the ball and then decided to run. That's tackle number 5 for Manly. Craig Field. He'll boot it downfield from inside his own 40. Tchaikovsky showing some soccer-like skills there. Half volleys it on the foot. Not a bad option in conditions like this if you've got the time. And referee Hampstead.
This is Brett Fulton again. Scott Fulton, I should say. Again, who's been cautioned. You know, I don't think he's really trying to do anything. There's no intent involved there. But like a number of other players in the game, he might just have a little technical fault with the point of contact. Oh yeah, there's really nothing in that, but it is high.
Worthy of a penalty.
Oh yeah, right across the throat.
Clinton O'Brien taking the hit up for South Queensland. They trail by 16 points to 6, 7-3 in the penalty area to South Queensland, which hasn't hurt their cause this afternoon against one of the glamour clubs of the Optus Cup. Now it's Wilson calling for it, and that's a beautiful piece of rugby league. Solojinkin on the burst. He might get there. Solojinkin, he will. A try to South Queensland, and in fact the tackle helped him get there. When you have a look at it again, it was Hancock streaking across. He did get him with plenty of impact, but the momentum actually helped him get across the line.
Well, it was his determination as well, David. I mean, he had determination right at this point, where he hits. There's nothing much doing there. Well, that's a poor miss by the Manly defence, but it's also his determination here. He's actually transferred the ball, or almost, but at 7 or 8 metres out, he had to make a decision here. Am I going to put the hammer down? He certainly put the hammer down there, ripped through Craig Field's tackle, front on, very poor. But look at him there. That's the look of a determined young bloke. He lifts the ball over, contemplating a pass, but it was his drive, his leg drive, and a bit of wet. The slide came in handy. The precipitation on the grass made it easier, and he slides in. And at 16-10,
we've got a ball game on our hands.
Well, you never know. You never know. I'd want my money on Manly if I were a betting man, and thank the Lord I'm not, sir. But Manly are under some pressure.
And there is the football on the top of that mound that I alluded to in the first half. Tchaikovsky loves to build the ball up like a block of flats.
He's a fair kicker, this boy. I've got a rap on him. I know he's made some mistakes outside of the actual playing arena this season, which I'm sure he'll regret for the rest of his life. But he plays a fair game of footy, and this is his natural position as fullback, and he's also a very good natural goal kicker. Yep. Watch him slice this all over the place.
He does come from a strong soccer background too. That's his view. You're on board with Tchaikovsky. That's a beautiful kick from the sideline over the black dot, and the Crushers are back in this game. Well, what about that?
That's a fair kick under these conditions.
Was never going to miss from the moment it left the boot. Let's have a look at it again. In conditions like this, that's a perler.
Not quite as good as Jason Taylor's effort a couple of weeks ago at Marathon Stadium when he's nailed one from a similar position in a wind and rain. But that's a great kick nonetheless. And with the score as it is, the Manly scoreboard attendant doesn't actually want to put it up here at Brookvale. I don't think he believes it. But it is 16-12.
It is indeed. Scoreboard still reading 16-10. They're taking a while. It's conceivable they could have been washed away with the rain around too, though. So the Crushers showing plenty of starch. I talked about it as the second half got underway. The kind of game to show if you've got some tinker, and they've done exactly that. And that is Moole. The Crushers have got their tails up, Brian. You can just sense them growing in confidence. Michael Eager goes for a run. Now Clinton O'Brien. O'Brien, nice offload, which goes back to Antonick, who puts the pedal down. That's tackle number 5. At acting half is Toshak. Fires the ball away to Craig Teven. The Crushers in this game. Wilson puts boot to ball. Taken on the fly by Danny Moore, who's met in some very good defence.
That's a poor kick by Wilson, straight down his throat. They needed a little better than that to really turn the screw on Manly. They're getting some confidence here, but they'll need to be wary because Manly can counterpunch better than anyone.
Jeff Tuvey having a run, the skipper. Pound for pound, regarded by many as the best player in the world. Lions. Menzies worrying for South Queensland as Innes takes the ball on the fly. Oh, yes, has managed to stay in from touch. Menzies to Cliff Lyons back on the field. Now David Gillespie, who's been an important player for Manly today. The respect he commands in the centre of the ruck cement. Kosef, left foot kick which dribbles into touch, 10 out from the South Queensland try line.
Well, there's another good response for Manly. Played out their set, put a fair examination of the right side of the Crushers' defence to them, and they met that. I think Toshak's done, Michael Eager on this right side did a great job in that particular set, but Kosef milked out the metres, turned the screw. Bit of a game of chess here at the moment, forward and back, see who makes the error in their own half.
Developing into an arm wrestle at 16-12 in favour of Manly. The Crushers have played with some courage, particularly in the second half. There were stages there, Brian, that Manly must have had 3 or 4 consecutive sets of 6 at them.
They did indeed, and all on their goal line, which is where the big examination of your confidence and your technique and your resolve is really on there, and they weathered that storm.
Sidaris being penalised for stealing the ball from Jason Hudson. Hudson's a bloke that South Queensland would like to get into some space too. Let's have a look at the replay. This is him out of acting half. Sidaris goes in to make the tackle.
Oh, gee. I know that there were 2 sets of Manly hands on that player at that point. Might have been a break go the way of the Crushers.
And there's the penalties for you. 8-3 in favour of South Queensland.
Oh, that is a sensational tackle by Mark Carroll. He's absolutely smashed Clinton O'Brien there and forced the ball from his grasp just through a legitimate front-on tackle.
Let's have another look at it.
Look at that. Oh, he's given him a bit of a touch-up, a little high perhaps. Oh, and maybe just on reflection, a sneaky little hand in there that the referee didn't see.
Yeah, quite right.
Nevertheless, a tough tackle.
Offloads to Gartner, and the Crushers can you look forward to cough up possession early in the tackle count like that. Back across the field runs Cliff Lyons, the only bloke out there in a clean jersey. And they continue to keep the ball alive through Terry Hill. He must score again. Terry, he's done so. Tez is on fire today at Brookvale. Another 4-pointer, all too easy. And it gets back to the Crushers coughing up possession on the first tackle when they restarted play from that penalty, Brian.
They're being punished in spades here. Oh, slick work at dummy half in the wet conditions. Cliffy Lyons doing what he does best, drifting across the front of the defence and found a great offload. Terry Hill with a great dummy, and he was unstoppable from that distance. Someone, Shifkovsky had to get out and get at him. This is a good offload by Kosef. Look at that in these weather conditions. Hudson takes the dummy. Hill puts the hammer down. Shifkovsky needed to come out and attack him. That's easy to say on a runaway. Look at the size of him. Shoulders on him like a bull. And he took that like a rampaging bull. He's really been a big player for Manly today, and maybe that was a big factor in their loss last weekend. He was absent last weekend, Terry Hill, from that shellacking that they took from North Sydney, and he's certainly come back with a bang today.
And Craig Innes has been drafted back in as the goal kicker, and a very tough one. Andrew Hunter going onto the field for Manly in jumper number 14. So we wait to see now how Innes fares from wide out. Manly 20 leading the Crushers 12. And we've had 20 minutes of play exactly in the second half. It's a difficult one in any weather conditions. Here he comes from wide out. He tends to chip at it, and it falls short. Had a bit of direction about it, though. A better looking kick than his first one.
This was a bit like yesterday's game. 20 points to 12, as it was with Parramatta and West at one stage yesterday, and 5 tries to 2. But they're not out of the woods, and if the Manly aren't, if the Crushers can come up with something yet again, and I fear for them, I've got to say that, but if they can with 18 minutes to go, it'll make for a very interesting finish to this game.
Danny Moore is the man coming off for Manly. So Hunter will go on the bat boom. Spud Carroll winding it up. He's a bloke that gives 100% week in, week out. Now Gillespie taken by Still Retchless and also Antonick. 20 points to 12. Plenty of time left on the clock. Well, there is a rare error. The man's human after all, Brian. Jeff Tuvey makes a mistake.
Yeah, and it's a forgivable one, I think, in these conditions.
Just, if you get a close-up shot of Tuvey, just have a look at his left cheekbone too. He's
had that for a while, but he's wearing that newfangled Medico gear on his face to cover up a split. But just have a look at the ground there where he's knocked on. I mean, that looks like a pigsty.
It does, doesn't it? You do have a way with words today, don't you?
Oh, my old man used to have some pigs when I was a kid, mate.
Okay, oink, oink. The Crushers back on the attack. And what can they do, the South Queensland side, as Jason Vent goes for a run out of acting half. Tuvey was there to make the tackle, along with another. Now Teven. Cut out Still Retchless before popping it past to Don Saunders, now playing in jumper 14. Couldn't handle.
He's just come on. He'll be disappointed with that. He sat there for 60 minutes watching all his teammates go around, and the first time they throw him the ball in a very promising position, he's come up with that. But again, I think almost any error today is, in these sort of handling error, is forgivable. It's tough work out there.
Jeff Tuvey is going to feed the scrum as we show you the handling errors on screen. Lions now to Hunter, and South Queensland up fairly quickly to bring him down. Tchaikovsky's had a good game, Brian Smith. Now this is Nick Kosef. Gallops further upfield. He's tackled 37 out from his own try line. Manly leading by 8 points. Mark Carroll calling for it. Oh, big contact between he and Clinton O'Brien. It's not the first time we've seen that in the last few weeks either, is it?
Not a fair contest, though. I think Big Spud's about 15 or 20 kilos heavier than that bloke.
Menzies is away. Steve Menzies looking for yet another try in his first grade career. Turns it back inside the Terry Hill, and Hill scores try number 3. Hill plants it down under the black dot.
He's on fire.
Yeah, he certainly is. Hill was the top try scorer in the Optus Cup for much of this season. And Brian Smith will talk us through the replay.
It's a great offload by Gillespie again. Look at that, off his knees. Menzies catches the ball flat-footed, but that's when he's at his best. He catches the defence flat-footed. Craig Teven out there in a one-on-one with him. Just couldn't match it with him for pace, nor could Saunders. Tchaikovsky's left in no man's land. A great support play by Terry Hill. He's really enjoyed this.
And I alluded to Terry Hill being the top try scorer in the league. He came into this match with 10 tries, make it 13 now, and he might not be done with just yet.
Well, he's presented this one on a platter by Menzies. You know, he's not just a great runner with the ball, Steve Menzies. He's a good provider as well. He's not a selfish player. He's a good, well-balanced all-round player. And Terry Hill's reaped the benefits of his skill there, but he deserves it. He deserves whatever he gets today. He's had an outstanding game for Manly, Terry Hill.
And the Eagles lead 24-12.
And I'll back their first goal for the day.
Okay, it's going to be Hunter this time. So it does demonstrate the the goal kicking problems they've got. Coach Fulton happy to give a number of goal kickers a chance. I think he'd prefer it the other way, though, if he had one specialist. As Hunter now moves in from right in front, has no problems in the crowd at Manly. Very vocal in their appreciation for the fact their side has finally kicked a goal. 26-12 now in favour of Manly, and we're 15 minutes out from full time in this game. This has been a characteristic of the Crushers games, or the way they play the game all year. You spoke about it earlier. They can play well for passages of 10 minutes and then they just fall apart at the seams.
Yeah, well, they've got a lot of guys in their team who have not experienced playing back-to-back football at this level, and 80 minutes every week it's a tall order, and particularly when you're playing against talented teams like Manly.
I agree with you. Cliff Lyons. Good defence there from, I think it was Teven. Yes, it was, coming across to make the tackle. Sedaris, as we watch them, you're right. I don't want to be perceived by our audience as being harsh on the Crushers. It's a miracle they're even playing this year. The way they finished the season last year in $9 million debt, it's great to see them. The same thing applied to the Gold Coast last year. The side was thrown together in January. Phil Economides came into the place, and look at the job they're doing now. So anything's possible with the desire and the commitment. Hancock's got plenty of that as he gets up to play it. 41 out from the Crushers try line. Tackle 5. Tuvey shoots the ball downfield, taken by Tchaikovsky, who's done nothing wrong today, has he?
He's pretty solid. Again, it's the problem they've had, the Crushers have had, is when this has happened to them in a game where they've had a good passage of play and then something's messed up, like every team does. It happens to every team. You get scored against. It's a matter of whether you pull your socks up, tighten up, and don't let it happen again, or as has happened to them so many times this year, they sort of get pummeled over a period of 5 minutes. They get 2 or 3 tries scored against them, and all of a sudden, you know, it looks as if they haven't really been competitive. They'll need to lift in this part of the game. 15 long minutes to go. They ain't going to win the game, but they can still take some respect home.
Tackle 5. It goes back to the fullback, Tchaikovsky, who kicks over Tuvey. Here comes John Hopewate to pick the ball up at pace too. Oh, got away from the first tackle of Michael Egar. The crowd at Brookvale love it when this bloke touches the ball. Tuvey away to Jim Sedaris, playing like an extra forward. Got away from the first tackle. Found Hopewate, who couldn't handle. I thought we were in for an exciting moment.
Oh, they came back down that short side. Sedaris loves this bit, where the opposition are on the back pedal. Someone's done some good work. He's so strong and he gets so many offloads away. He can offload before the line. Wasn't his best pass, perhaps. And Hopewate was under some pressure from Egar. But I tell you what, it looked like a very threatening moment there. If Hopewate had caught that ball cleanly, it was look out.
That was the Crushers coach, Steve Bleakley. You just saw a shot off in the grandstand. Crushers win the scrum. Play now right in centre field, 31 out. Great to have your company on Sports Australia. Sunday afternoon league. Optus Cup 1997, round 15. Don't forget the soccer to come your way at 6:50 tonight from Parramatta Stadium, live and exclusive. The Socceroos to tackle the New Zealand All Whites. World Cup qualifying.
Got no problems with the weather at Parramatta, mate. The sun's shining at Parramatta. It's 24 hours a day at the moment.
He's a fun bloke to work with when he's winning. Teven across the field. David Cooper playing with his head, with a headband around the melon, and he coughs it up. So it'll be a scrum to pack right in centre field, 40 out from the Manly try line. Manly feed. It's so true, isn't it? The winners are grinners. In fact, you're smiling like a carpet snake in a foul house.
It's not every season that you win 9 games in a row, David, or our team has done that. So we're enjoying the moments.
Parramatta shortening in the betting to be in the grand final. Tuvey on the inside, the Terry Hill.
He's enjoying the moment, isn't he? He looks a threat every time he touches the ball. You got your heart in your mouth. You think he's going to tear someone apart.
Yeah, so big and strong and fast. Can really unleash some acceleration from a standing start too. Now it's Jim Sedaris, who's had a good game, steady. Seems to relish the opportunity of running rather than the acting half area, which Fulton and Tuvey have done much of. Now it's on the inside to Hancock. He's away, Hancock. Try number 2 for the fullback. He's there. Craig Hancock, who's making a really good fist of playing fullback this year too. That's 30 points to 12 in favour of Manly with 10 minutes remaining. Ran with plenty of purpose then, didn't he, Brian? He wanted to score.
My word, I tell you what, this is a very, very good play in the wet conditions. To link back like that down the middle. And look at that, for a left-footed step. He left Shifkovsky's looking a bit ordinary, a bit shabby there, but let's not be too hard on him, because to change pace, look at this. They're working the ball across to their left, sucking the Crushers out to their right, turning the ball back, and that's very difficult to do even on a dry day, to link back like that on the inside and to step like that. That's terrific balance. And Craig Hancock confirms the game for Manly at 30 to 12. It's safe as houses.
Manly skipper Jeff Tuvey coming from the field. And as you can imagine, receiving a wonderful reception from the people in the Western Grandstand. And it's once again Hunter, Andrew Hunter, to take the attempted conversion from right in front, 10 metres out. There should be 32 points to 12, and we're around 8.5 minutes out from full time in this game. It was interesting to note that just after that try was scored, referee Hampstead was having another chat with Scott Fulton too. Not sure what about, as Hunter now moves in from right in front. The flags are up. So Manly, career away, 32 points to 12 over the Crushers. I think the Crushers have done a fairly good job under the circumstances today.
Well, it's certainly been competitive, and they certainly won my respect, and I think from their opponents today. But having said that, at 32 to 12, it's a pretty comfortable victory for Manly. And with 8 to go, the Crushers don't want this to really blow right out on them now, and they'd like to hit back with something for themselves.
32 to 12 as we get play underway once more. Neil Turney taken by Still Retchless and Antonik across the top. It's Turney. I thought he may have lost it there, but I was wrong. Field across to Cliff Lyons. He's got runners charging off him. That was Hopawate. Back to Lyons. Now it's with Innes. Innes careers upfield. He'll get the ball up over the halfway line. Good bulldozing stuff. Lyons at first receiver. Throws the ball to Craig Field. It pops off the shoulder of, I think, Daniel Gartner. And that's 6 more tackles, says the referee. Craig Field objecting to something there from Craig Wilson. Nick Kosef passes to Terry Hill. He's having a field day out there, Terry.
He's got spiders on.
So Manly looking to put another try on the board. Gillespie to Lyons. And now it's with Daniel Gartner. They are starting to play the game today, Manly, like they're really enjoying themselves, aren't they, Brian? Now it's Lyons. The veteran's away. Pops the ball to Mark Carroll, who will be pulled up about 6 metres short of the Crushers try line. Will they score again? Cliff Lyons back on the inside to Hancock, looking for try number 3. Oh, comes up against the upright. They've held him up all right. A couple of blades of grass short. It was Retchless and Sikorsky. That's tackle 5. Long passing, the order of the day here, as it goes out to Craig Innes on the ground. Hopawate dives on it. That will be another Manly try. And it's just becoming very easy to them at this stage of proceedings. Hopawate diving on the ball that was towed through by Craig Innes. And we're 6 minutes out from full time. 36 points to 12 with the kick to come.
This is the mark of a great team. They've struggled in recent weeks, but they get an opportunity to win a game, and they really go on with it, even after the struggle of a full-on battle here today. This is a great piece of work. That's a front rower there. Spud, Carroll all the way, long ball, it's perfect, right on his chest, and a lovely weighted kick. A little bit of luck perhaps, but great tactics for the last play, and in the weather conditions, the ball's just bounced around there. Hopawate ever ready to bounce on or jump on a ball like that. A soft try for him, and some clever work done on his inside.
So it'll now be Hunter to attempt another difficult conversion. He's 21 metres out and about 5 metres in from the western touchline. Hopawate, a very gifted player who's been in the headlines for sometimes the wrong reasons this year, sledging opponents almost beyond belief, it's got to be said. I haven't seen any of that featuring in his game today, which I'm pleased about. So Hunter looking to put another 2 on the board here. If he's successful, it will be 38-12. Moves in from wide out. Got under it, but that one hooks away. Unsuccessful. 36 points to 12. And we're inside the last 5 minutes of this game at Brookvale Oval.
Yeah, well, I think the scoreline now is the thing that's happened so many times. If you look through the Crushers season, you know, they have got the worst defensive record in the league. And unfortunately, you know, for those of us who've sat and watched this game, we can respect the fact that for much of it, they've been very competitive. But you're going to read that scoreline tomorrow morning, and it's going to look like it's been one very lopsided affair. And they just, at this stage of their development as a club, and who knows what lies before them for the future, they just haven't got that ability to sustain what is quite often a good effort just for long enough. And when you come up against a talented team like Manly, you know, unless you do that, you get punished in spades. And that's what's happening to them now, and it might be about to unfold again by the look of this.
As Craig Hancock hits the ball, now it's within us. And good tackle there made by Michael Egar. And somehow, miraculously, he stayed in the field of play. Now Cliff Lyons drifting across field as he does better than most. Offloading the ball to Daniel Gartner, who lopped it across the top. Now it's with Hunter. Hunter's away. He comes to the fullback. He pops it back on the inside the Terry Hill. Try number 4 for the number 4 from Manly. Terry Hill scores again. That's 14 tries in the Optus Cup of 1997 for this strong centre three-quarter. 40 points to 12. Let's take another look at it for you. Innes there, that's when he was in possession on the western side of the field, and how he didn't go into a touch was quite amazing there.
Oh, didn't he do well to stay in? And then they shifted the ball. Look at that, in wet conditions, from as far as possible on the east, they've shifted this ball as far as they can to the west. Some nice balance and a lovely ball there, I think, by Kosef. And Hunter doing all the work down the sideline. A pretty reasonable tackle by Shivkovsky. He's woken up thinking that he's put the player into touch. And when he turns around, that's a good ball by Menzies too. Hunter's timing perfect. Really pushed hard down the sideline. Tried the in and away. Shivkovsky's put him into touch. But when he wakes up and turns around, here's the bloke who's got a magnet on him today. The ball just has followed him everywhere. He's reaped the rewards through support play of other players' good play in the latter part of the game, but let it be said that early in the game he did all the work himself for a couple of great tries. He's had a great game.
He has. A key part of the Australian side to play the rest of the world next Friday night at Suncorp Stadium. So Hunter again from wide out. A difficult one for him. That one didn't have the direction. 40 points to 12 in favour of Manly. And we're just a couple of minutes out from full time in this game.
Well, Cliffy Lyons in screen there. Bob Fulton uses him so well, so tactically well nowadays. He's doesn't need to be an 80-minute player for them. In the same way you've been rapping Gillespie throughout the game, I find that those two blokes, they are veterans and they can't play 80 minutes, but gee, they play a fundamental role for Manly. They're one's a steadying influence, and the other one's ever ready to open you up with a skillful bit of play with his hands or a kick, or as we've seen in recent times, he's even scored a 40 or 50 metre try with a good dummy. They're in for a couple of big games, Manly, in the next couple of weeks.
They are indeed. Now it's within us. They want to put another one together, Manly. Danny Moore was screaming for the ball and support.
Sydney City next game for them, away. And the Roosters are currently have lost their last 4 in a row and are desperate for a win at home. And then they play that Parramatta team. Here's their next home game.
They snatched a 14-all draw with Newcastle. At Marathon now, Hopawate. He finds himself into space. Full-time siren sounds in the background. Back on the inside to Steve Menzies. And they score another 4-pointer just to rub salt into the wounds of the South Queensland Crushers. It has been pretty stuff to watch. I was waiting for T. Hill to bob up again. Menzies said, you stay away from the football. This one's mine.
Menzies has tripped him in the background so that he could get a sniff of the football. Look at this again to the right. Field around Kosef. a good ball. Geez, hit the ball hard there, Hopewade, and too much pace for the cover. And Menzies, of course, far too much pace for the inside support. Too quick. That's a great Manly try. We've seen them do, you know, they're capable of this at any time. So many players who handle the ball very well. Nice passing by. That's a beautifully weighted ball right out in front of Hopewade so he can hit it hard. He's ripped through a fairly feeble tackle. Solid Jinkin trying hard. No way he can get to Hopewade. A beautiful pass. And that guy's just cruising. Menzies.
Haven't they got some talent? This is one of the great Manly sides of all time in the history of this club. Hunter from right in front gets the 2 points. The full-time scoreline, 46 points to 12 at Brookvale Oval. Manly emerging very comfortable winners in the end. South Queensland, I think, can hold their head up though. They tried hard, and they just do find it tough to compete at a high level for long periods of time. And when they can do that, and it'll come through experience, they'll be a lot better for it. So 46 points to 12. Manly defeating the South Queensland Crushers in this round 15 Optus Cup game in heavy conditions. We saw a pretty bright open game. As we now take a break from Brookvale, 46 points to 12, repeating the full-time scoreline here. A break, and then we'll go back to Wynn Stadium.
Still about 7 minutes to go with Illawarra, but Illawarra still hanging in there.